Welcome back to Voices of the Millennials. I am your host, Lyon. Some call me Lyon, and I make pretty dope art right here at Love Bay Afrobeat Music Talk Radio, and that's what you're listening to right now. Or you might be watching us right now on YouTube, LinkedIn, or Facebook. And hello to everyone who is tuning in and tapping in. Today, we have a very exciting topic for you. Actually, for the next couple of weeks, I am going to be involved in a really big project, and I'm really excited to announce it here on Love Bay. A couple weeks ago, we had a interview with Jasmine Swimmer, and we were dropping hints about what was to come. But now I can officially say that we are full into the swing of things with Nuit Blanche. So Nuit Blanche is an annual art exhibit that runs for 12 hours over the course of an evening into the morning. So on September 23rd of this year until September 24th, and that's from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m., we will be having a 12-hour art exhibit. Now, what's so exciting about this is that this year, Nuit Blanche is really prioritizing amplifying the voices of BIPOC artists. And I'm really excited to be one of the organizations that have been selected to curate an exhibit for this. It's actually a monumental, like huge, massive citywide exhibit. So in different boroughs of the GTA, and that's where we are broadcasting live from, so Greater Toronto area, we have different art exhibits popping up in many different spaces. So some of them might be in malls, some of them might be in parks, parking lots. Honestly, I've seen them do exhibits in every type of space that is available in the city, and they animate all these spaces for 12 hours. And it's amazing. If you haven't been to Nuit Blanche, Toronto, then you have to go. And the cool thing about Nuit Blanche is that it's actually an exhibit that travels all around the world. So that means in different places of the world, they do this 12-hour exhibit. And so no matter where you are in all of the 135 countries that we are broadcasting live to right now on Love Bay, you might be able to take in what's going on with Nuit Blanche. So Nuit Blanche, that's NUIT BLANCHE for the people that are listening. And anyone that's watching, you might notice that there's a cool little thing happening at the bottom of your screen right now. And that shows you the topic of the show, what we're discussing, and as well as where you are listening to it. Okay, so that being said, we are going to be joined today by one of the artists that have been selected for the art exhibit that I will be curating alongside Madewell Productions. That's the events and project management company that I co-founded with my business partner. And then we are also going to be partnering with North Love Arts. And North Love Arts is an organization that prioritizes amplifying BIPOC voices in media and film. And so I'm really excited to be partnering with them because that's what we do in events and projects. We do the same thing. We've now aligned and we're doing this art exhibit. We've selected a number of artists, and a few of them will be interviewed right here on Voices of the Millennials about their participation. And of course, you know what we always talk about here. We always want to know, what are the breakdowns that led to the breakthroughs in your life? Because that is how you break ground. And right here, breaking ground with us is Julie JPEG. Thank you so much for joining us today. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you doing, Elle?
I'm doing very well. I was just telling our viewers and listeners at home that you're going to be one of the artists that is going to be joining us in the Breaking Ground Nuit Blanche 12-hour art exhibit. So I let them know all about what the art exhibit is about. So now I'm really excited for them to know more about you and how you got involved with this project, but also with art, like in general. So maybe if you want to get started on, let the people know who you are, a few things about Julie and, how you got started in art.
Okay, perfect. First and foremost, thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure. My name is Julie JPEG. I am a Toronto visual artist. I specialize in acrylic paint and illustration. Art has always been a special gift of mine. I've been drawing and painting since I was about 4 years old. I used to win art contests all the time. And I kind of let art take a back seat when I was getting busy with university and like other studies and building a career. But I guess it wasn't until the global pandemic where life kind of slowed down and I kind of just turned more inside and looked at myself and figured out what do I really want to do. And I figured that me being so creative, that's something that the world needs to see. So I started a small business during the pandemic, just doing commissions. And then I got started doing social events. I started sharing my art in public spaces like storefronts, um, other places, cannabis shops, things like that. And I just started connecting with other artists, started making a name for myself. Definitely sharing my work on social media has definitely helped. I was fortunate enough to do another project by Madewell Productions back in, I believe it was March, when we did an event for DJ O Sound. So that was actually really, really fun. And that's what kind of brought me here to be selected for Nuit Blanche. I saw another opportunity that Madewell Productions was promoting with North of Arts for Nuit Blanche. And thankfully I got selected. So I'm really excited for Nuit Blanche, which is this September 23rd. And yeah, really excited.
Amazing. What a journey. I really I want to like I guess stop on a point that you mentioned, and I'd love to know what was your inspiration for being able to get your art in all these different public spaces. Like you mentioned even cannabis stores, like retail stores. How did you have the mindset, or did someone help you along this journey to break through to that revelation?
It's a bit of both. So once I started sharing my artwork online, I had people reach out to me, providing me really good feedback, saying, "Hey, you're such a good artist. You're so talented. So and so is looking for local artists to display their art." One of the cannabis shops that I was partnered with, they were a brand new shop that was opening, so they really wanted to build a platform for local artists to come in and share their work and support the community. So it was a bit of me seeing that happen on Instagram. And it was also a bunch of people reaching out to me and encouraging me to make that step and share my art with the community. So,
That's beautiful. I love it. The power of the internet. Honestly,
yes.
it's powering us right now on Love Bay Radio. So and it brought us together. Like it was through Instagram. I was doing a search of Black artists Toronto. Like those were my hashtags. And fortunately, you adhered to some of those hashtags, and I was able to discover your art. I'm really, really glad that we did. And just like you said, we did that event in March, Transcendence, and we were able to bring art together in a social space that's usually, a party vibe, like a club vibe. And people really, really responded well to that. They loved it.
They loved it. Loved it.
Yeah. And how did the response go after that event? When you do events like these, do you find that they help you to, you know, break into other markets, break in or tap in, connect with people? How does that usually go for you?
Usually, whenever I'm doing an exhibit or a social event, I find that it's very, very helpful. I think that it helps you with networking, it helps you build connections. It's helped me a lot with those things. And it's allowed me to step out of my comfort zone and really do more events. The more events you do, the more comfortable you get. The more people you meet and connect with, and you are exposed to so many different audiences and different types of events. And being able to align with those energies with your creation is something that I'm very, very happy that I'm able to do.
Okay. I love that. And I'd love to know now, like our big question that I always ask, what was your biggest breakdown in this journey, becoming Julie JPEG? What's like some of the biggest breakdowns or one of the biggest breakdowns you've had, and how did it lead to a breakthrough?
Good question. So I had one art piece that unfortunately was vandalized.
Mm.
Um, yeah, it was very unfortunate. And, even the way it happened, everything, there was just a lot of loose ends, and I guess accidents happens, it is what it is. But that kind of discouraged me and got me down just a bit. But having my friends and my support system give me that push and to really uplift me to get back on track was perfect. And I also had more people reaching out to me to do commissions. I remember shortly after that, I had a special request for someone to do a portrait drawing of a family member who had passed. And having that opportunity to really not just redeem myself, but to also practice with other mediums and do produce something and create something that was very special and meaningful was the reason that gave me the ability to really break through from that and continue doing what I'm doing.
Wow. And was this like early on in your journey when you had a art piece of yours vandalized?
I might say so. It's been over a year. So I started doing my own side business with Julie JPEG during the pandemic. So I'd say it's been 3 years, almost 4 years now. So there's always going to be ups and downs, no matter what journey you take in life.
Hmm.
Personally, professionally, there's always going to be ups and downs. There's going to be hurdles, and you just have to be strong enough to take them on and deal with it. You're always going to fall, but you just have to have the strength and the courage and the support to get back up on your feet and keep going.
Hmm. Wow, that's and I mean, I definitely resonate with that story. Like in having pieces of art or just work that the public is might not be ready for or whatever their reasons are, but definitely resonate with that experience. Unfortunately, of having work that you've worked really hard on, destroyed by people
Exactly.
because of their misunderstanding, their hate. I'm so
Hmm.
sorry that happened to you, but I'm also really glad that you're able to share this story because this may happen again to someone. So
For
hearing that
sure.
that did not stop you and that you surrounded yourself with people who care about you and who see your art and the value in it. I think that those are really key things that anybody can take from your story. So thank you so much for sharing that as well.
Thank
Um,
you. I
and I'd love
agree.
to know, yeah, like about some breakthroughs that you've had, because you mentioned that when that happened, was it because of the fact that people saw that your work had been vandalized that they reached out to you, or this was just, a second thing that happened to you as a result?
So this is something that people saw and reached out immediately, and not only just wanted to check up on me to make sure I was okay, because it is very hurtful to have something you've worked truly, truly hard for be destroyed and have it blindside you out of nowhere. But people did reach out, so kind, so caring, and very supportive. It really uplifted my spirits to know that people believe in me. They see the talent, they see the creativity, they see the dream, and they want it to continue. So that is something that I just have to push through. And so I did, and I'm here, and now I'm doing Nuit Blanche, and I'm excited. And yeah, the journey continues.
Amazing. And I'd love to know, did you know anything about Nuit Blanche before this opportunity came about? Because I know that with Nuit Blanche, one of the things they want to do is they would like to engage more BIPOC artists. And that means actually involving us in the art. We can't just consume, we have to be a part of it. So, really glad they prioritized that this year. But what about for you? Did you know anything about it? And what did you know about it before joining?
So I attended Nuit Blanche, I want to say within the last decade. Gone a few years, maybe 2 or 3 years. I just knew that it was a 12-hour experience where there's different artists showing their creativity based on the theme over the city, different types of mediums being presented, and it's free, it's for the public, it's for everybody to enjoy. It takes place on the weekend, so I always knew that it was a very big event. I always knew that it's also something that takes place in multiple cities worldwide. Never did I think that I'd get selected to exhibit my art and share it with the community at Nuit Blanche. I'm very, very excited, very thankful. And I think it's great that they're finally putting a focus on BIPOC artists. We have a voice too, and we have our stories that need to be shared with the community. And the way we present those stories, whether it's through dance or through visual arts or through music or through acting, this is something that we need to speak about. So our voices need to be amplified. We need to be more centered. We need that representation, and I'm so happy I'm part of it.
Amazing, amazing. And for you, I'd love to know, how did you get your start, like in the type, or what inspires, sorry, the art that you make right now? What's inspiring the art that you're making right now? And you can even tell us, like, what has inspired the art that you make in general.
So I've always been inspired by pop culture, Black culture, music, and travel sceneries, landscapes, things that are very relaxing to me, things that I relate to, things that I align with. So those are the types of themes that I'd like to focus with my work. That's what inspires me. But I think another thing that separates me from a lot of other artists is just because I don't necessarily have one solid niche. I have so many different types of arts that I can do, and I like being diverse, and I like having that ability to just do a certain type of piece, but the next day I can do that, and then I could do an animation, but then I can also have my work featured in a cannabis shop. It keeps me relatable to different types of people in our communities, and it just keeps me on my feet. So I think that's the biggest inspiration for me, to just do what I love, do what I enjoy, whatever comes to my mind. Let me put it on a piece of paper and let me show it to the world.
Beautiful, beautiful. And what kind of mediums do you do your art in currently? I know that you paint. Are there any other hidden talents that you dabble in?
So I also illustrate with graphite pencils, colored pencils, um, and I've also experimented with oil painting. I'm not the best at oil. I do prefer acrylic. That's like my main thing, but those two are the ones I dabble in. I've had experience with vocals in the past. Right now, not too much, but I think just being an artist has always just been something that I've been naturally good at, and it's something that I was exposed to at a very young age, and it's never really left me, my soul, my body, my mind. And now that it's becoming at the forefront and I'm given the opportunities to do things like this, it's really keeping me going. So I want to really maximize the potential with this talent.
And you touched upon the point that you were introduced to the arts early on in your life. What was that experience like? What kind of arts were you introduced to, and who were the people that were influential in your life to make that happen?
Um, I am a 90s baby. So I grew up watching a lot of 90s TV shows, definitely centered around Black characters. And I created a piece on this just because these characters were so prominent growing up. Gerald from Hey Arnold, Francine from Arthur, um, so many other characters that I grew up with just on my TV screens. These are the people that I always related to. And I just always thought that things that they were going through, like I was going through. So having that connection and being able to replicate that on paper at such a young age is definitely something that I'm even impressed with. So definitely TV shows, music, things like that.
And would you say there was any people, like, how did your parents feel about art in your life? And I say this because I'm from Caribbean background. You can let us know what background you're from. Here on the show, we're really focused in on our Afro Carib millennials, because we have these experiences trying to make it in these non-traditional spaces. And I know that my family was not a big fan of art. I remember wanting to go to art school from eighth grade to ninth grade. I wanted to go to an arts high school, and they were just like, "What are you going to do with the arts? It's doctor, lawyer, figure it
Yeah,
out, choose."
yeah.
But what about for you? What's your cultural background?
So my parents are from Ghana. I was born in North York, raised in the GTA my whole life. So I went through the exact lawyer, something prestigious, something with a degree. Art was always overlooked. It was always not taken seriously. It was always a hobby. Do it when you have the time. It was always like brushed under the rug, shoved to the center. It wasn't ever, it's not that they didn't support me. They obviously see the talent and they still do. But even to this day, I don't think they realize that if you just follow your passion and really stick to it, it could be just as profitable as being a lawyer. But I think the cultural differences and the perspectives definitely interfere with them to really accept that. So that's like one of the most frustrating things I have is being able to really confidently prove to my parents that this is a serious career. This is a serious talent. Many people have um, gotten a lot of success from showing their creative side. And it's not something that's impossible. It's very possible. And I want to be able to prove that.
I love that. I love that a lot. Because I know there are some people that are listening right now that might be in a very similar situation. And I know that for me, it was because I finally started to see people that look like me having these conversations and saying things like you did, like, yeah, my parents didn't support me. They still don't even support me right now, but I'm still on, do me. And hopefully that also makes them proud, because I know I still always want to make my parents proud. Like, there's still a little
For
part of me.
sure. For
And
sure.
finally, my mom has stopped asking about when am I going to go back to law school. So, I'm still using, finally using my talking for a good purpose. And she, I think, is accepting of this. Like, so
Yeah.
I feel it can happen. It can happen. And it really is, as you were saying, putting your you're all into your passion, because something that I heard recently, I'd love to know your take on this, and also maybe a gem or a piece of advice that you have received that really has helped you to break ground on your art and keep breaking through even when there are breakdowns. So something I heard, and it's really been helping me, is that you really have to believe that it's already yours. Whatever that thing
Hmm.
is that you want, see it in your vision, and then trust the process, move towards it as if it's already yours. And
Exactly.
I do find that that helps me. I'd love to know for you how you feel about that statement. And then, anything else that you think would help the people to keep going.
I definitely agree with you. I think it's really important to trust the process and trust yourself. Don't play yourself either. If you feel overwhelmed or you feel like you really can't do something, don't overstep. Just take your time, take it day by day, one task at a time, and really go with the flow. Give it your all. Plant the seed today. It's not going to grow tomorrow. It's not going to grow in 2 weeks, but one day it will bloom so tall that you're going to be so proud of yourself that you planted the seed in the first place.
Exactly. I love that. It's all about planting those seeds and not worrying about if you're going to eat from the trees. Like, that will
Exactly.
happen. You just have to plant the seeds, like, get the work done.
Exactly.
Big.
Exactly. We know you're hungry and you're starving, but the tree's not ready yet. So you just have to wait a little bit more. That's all.
Like, you don't want your belly to hurt you with eating yes. This is
Exactly.
advice. I love this. And were there
Exactly.
any people in your life that helped to show you, like, the way when it comes to art? When any mentors or any organizations that you've aligned with in the past that you would like to shout out right now, or any friends or family that you think have really, helped you to get where you are today?
I definitely have a few family members that have really helped me follow this dream and really make that move and take the jump and that leap of faith. I have a really good friend who started her own business and she ended up getting a deal with Nike and a bunch of other partnerships. So seeing how she started and seeing the hard work, the dedication, the perseverance, the not giving up, not listening to naysayers, and actually seeing her dreams come true. It's so motivating because if she can do it, what makes you think that you can't? Or the person beside you can't either. You can. It's all about the mindset. You really have to put yourself in a positive mindset. And like you said, think and act like it's already yours, like you've already got it, and just keep taking those steps that you need to make sure that it sustains itself. I also look up to some artists that I've even met on Instagram who I remember when I started following them at first, they had a smaller following and were just getting started. And now I see them and they're making six figures just off of working art full time and being able to ship their work all over the world. Like that's so motivating for me because people are living the dream and I'm seeing it happen. So what makes me think that that can't happen for me either? So that's something that's always going to keep me going. And I think ever since jobs and being able to work wherever you want has become so flexible, a lot of people are steering away from the status quo or a 9 to 5, and they're realizing that their talents can actually be profitable. You can monetize from it, you can make connections, you can build a whole new career. It might not skyrocket right away, but if you just put in the work and take your time, you'll get there. And it's happened to so many people in so many different fields. So it's very, very possible and it's happening. So, yeah.
I love that. I love that. I love like the passion in your voice hearing you say that, because it just gives me even more energy towards what we're all doing here on these platforms, even like right now here listening to Love Bay Afrobeat Music Talk Radio. This platform was built because, giving artists like yourself, music artists, all types of artists, the ones behind and in front of the screen, a platform to be able to actualize their dreams. So hearing, you say these things, it really feels encouraging as well. And I know that these interviews will also help people to break through their challenges. They will hopefully overcome those things. And I'd love to know, when you find yourself getting down, because I'm sure, things happen. We talked about a big breakdown that happened, but when you find yourself getting down in general, what are some things that you do to uplift yourself, and how do you prepare yourself for opportunities, to be able to go out there day after day?
Whenever I'm down or have like a creativity block, I always write down positive thoughts. I always write down positive sayings, positive words, and I read it out loud in front of me just so I could have that really be spoken out there into the universe so it could come back to me in a positive way. I think it's also really important to understand and listen to your body. If you're feeling stressed, take it easy, relax, drink some water, go for a walk, give yourself 5 minutes. Really take the time that you need, but also talk to a friend, get that support. If you're involved in a community, especially within BIPOCs, that's a great way. Just put yourself in a very safe space without any judgment to clear your head and get right back to work.
I really love that. I do find positive affirmations, positive thinking. This is really what gets me through, as well. When I find myself getting challenged by something, it's really the thoughts that we allow to become things. I
Mhm.
think that really stops us from being who we are meant to be. Like, the person you see in your head is achievable. You said it today as well. It really has to do with your mindset shift. And I think that that's a great tool. I hope people were listening right now, because writing it down, I do believe, also makes it more real. It
Mhm.
also signals your body when you write things down, like your muscles also respond in a certain way, triggers your brain to
Exactly.
remember to behave
Exactly.
in a certain way when things like this happen. So
For
this is
sure.
training. And are there any any schools of thought or any books that you've read, or anything that you've seen, that you would point people towards if they want to try to achieve, this Julie JPEG mindset? Because I feel you have a head on your shoulders.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Um, Open up and talk to people who you relate to. Um, and reach out if you need help. A lot of people are afraid to ask for help because there's a fear of some sort, or they feel that they don't want to be a burden. You're not a burden. Don't be afraid. People love you. People who are around you want to listen to you. They want to see how you're doing. Reach out to them. And if that isn't always available, I find that self help books really, really, really motivate me to never, ever, ever give up, because I know some authors have had their fair share of struggles and breakdowns and breakthroughs, and having them share their stories, knowing that there's people out there going through the same things, if not similar, it's very, very helpful. So that's a reality. People go through things, life throws you curveballs, and you have to be able to catch them one way or another and catch yourself. So in the event where you ever face an issue or a problem, you have resources out there. You have family, you have friends, you have books, you have YouTube, you have so many things out there that are able to help you. So utilize it. Don't waste it. Life is very short, and share your story, live your purpose, and stay truly authentic to yourself.
This is very good advice. I really, really love and appreciate. And I wanted to know, just a few more questions before we let Julie go today. I wanted to know about, how you are, like, what you are doing to prepare for this show, for Nuit Blanche. Like, are you creating new pieces? And can you drop any hints about themes or how that's all coming together?
So the theme is breaking ground, and I am creating three new pieces that align with that theme. I think it's really important to show our perspective of what that means, and that can be relatable to change, innovation, being the pioneer or being the first person to really step up and change the world and change everything around you, change your outlook. um, Also, Toronto has seen a lot of changes with urban development and with the population and with diversity, so I'm definitely going to try to incorporate that somehow. And I'm really excited for everybody to see my work as well as the other BIPOC artists, because we're out here, we are talented, and we're just getting started. So definitely come out September 23rd.
Exactly. Breaking Ground is going to be at the Dawn on the Danforth, and that's at Pavement Danforth, 15 Chisholm Avenue. And Julie is going to be one of the artists that are going to be exhibiting her work at this special event. There's also going to be a music concert going on upstairs that's also going on for 12 hours. Food is also going to be there. And for you, Julie, what's the most exciting thing that you're looking forward to when it comes to your art? And I did notice in your bio that you mentioned that you are monetizing your art now. So I'd love to know about any projects that you have coming up or ideas for projects on monetizing your art.
So I'm always doing commissions. I have that very clearly stated in my bio that I'm more than happy to create something special for someone, whether that be a portrait, whether that be a landscape, an illustration. I've done website logos, graphic logos. I've done a bunch of different things. So if you have an idea and you want something that's original and customized and authentic, I am your girl. Please reach out to me. Otherwise, I'm really excited to just share my art with the community. I'm really excited to show people what I've got and put myself more out there and really make a name for myself and break through. And I'm really excited to connect with other artists who identify as me and who are also excited to share their creativity. And it's a good event. It's fun. It's a great way to bring people together. Everybody loves art. Everybody loves entertainment. So this is a very special event, and I'm really really happy that BIPOC creatives are really being amplified and being the focus of this year. So I'm really really happy to be part of that.
Beautiful. And I'd love to know before you leave us, is there any like hopes or kind of visions that you would like to see come about in the art community in Toronto, in the GTA? And I say that because recently Artscape has gone into receivership. And this is an organization that was one of the largest arts organizations here in the GTA, and that they going into receivership pretty much means like bankruptcy. So a lot of their buildings will either be transforming into different spaces. What it really means is there will be a decline and a decrease in the number of spaces that are available for creatives in general. So we know that BIPOC creatives, it's been tough, just in general, to get into these spaces. And now some of the biggest spaces are closing. I just love to know, for you hearing that, any thoughts about it and any dreams or hopes that you have for how we can kind of change the landscape of the art community in Toronto. Just trying to gather ideas, from all the artists
Yeah,
you
yeah,
have.
for sure. First and foremost, I think it's really unfortunate that these spaces are closing down. I know times have really changed, and ever since the pandemic, a lot of things have gone more digital, more remote, and it has seen a lot of benefits. But we do lose that human interaction, which is so important with visual arts and other mediums, because you can present your work digitally as much as you want, but it's not going to share the same experience as someone that's going to come face to face in real life with your work. It's like, let's say you're going to watch a live performance or a ballet show at an actual venue versus watching it on YouTube. It's not the same experience. So I think it's really important for us to have some spaces that, even though they might not be as larger, we can still have some, maybe in like community centers, maybe have like certain time slots for when we can come in. Maybe we can start off with like a hybrid type of flexible space, but it's really important for us to have a space where we can all come together and create and be ourselves and show our true colors and really represent for the community that we serve. And I also think that if they're not going to give us the spaces, then we can create them on our own. If we happen to go outside and find an empty wall, let's all collectively do a mural. If we find that we could put together a social event, let's just do that. We're always going to find a way. We're creative, so we're going to figure it out.
I love that. We're always going to find a way. We are creatives. And of course, yes, the social events, it's true. I think that incorporating those with more visual arts is a way to be able to engage people in the arts. I'm definitely going to be looking out for some blank walls right now because idea. And there are ways to get your art on the wall. There's people you can ask, like, to be able to do
Exactly.
that. So there are ways to legally do that. And then, of course, there are actually some walls that you might be able to do that on. So
Yeah,
research is
definitely.
necessary, preparing ourselves for these opportunities. I love it.
For
Love it.
sure. For sure.
Mhm. And I'd love to thank you so much for coming through and, letting us know more about you, your journey, the breakdowns that you've had and how you've broken through. And now you're breaking ground at Nuit Blanche on September 23rd to the 24th, and that starts at 7 p.m. You can check out all of the information on my Productions on IG, and you can find out what's going on there. We're going to post some of these interviews that we're having with the artists as well. And Julie, before you leave, is there any last words that you have for an emerging artist that might be wondering, how can I get like Julie? How can I get this spot?
Believe in yourself, never stop learning, expand your knowledge, and trust the process. Never, ever, ever give up. Just keep going.
It's so true. Honestly, you really have to believe in yourself. That's how you get to these spots and you take these opportunities that come your way. But, I know there's a lot of artists who probably, when they saw Nuit Blanche, felt intimidated and didn't, take this opportunity. And you were one of the people that you were brave. I'm sure it felt scary to do this
It
because,
did. It
right,
did.
you did it anyway. So I just really want to commend you for doing that because you just never know what could happen. The worst that someone could say is not yet. Honestly, that's a no. That's or
Exactly.
next
Exactly.
opportunity. Next opportunity, So
Exactly.
yeah, it's really,
Exactly. And
really
I
cool that you did this.
I also want to say that it's really important to take risks and step outside of your comfort zone. If you normally don't like meeting people or networking, go to a social event, introduce yourself, bring some business cards, exchange Instagrams, just put yourself out there and the rest will flow. Trust yourself, trust the process, and keep it going.
I love it. I love it. And I can't wait to see you soon, Julie, on the 23rd. We're going to be chatting soon because we have lots of work to do before the big show.
Oh,
And I'm
yeah.
excited to see these 3 new pieces that you made. I'm so excited.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
so much for coming through, and we will talk to you soon.
Okay. Thanks so much, Elle. Thanks, guys.
Welcome. Peace and love.
Peace and
Blessings.
love. God bless everybody. Thank you.
And you heard it here first. Julie JPEG will be one of the artists that is going to be joining us for the Nuit Blanche Breaking Ground exhibit that we are curating, Madewell Productions and North Love Arts at the Dawn on the Danforth, or the Dawn on the Danforth. Danforth on the Dawn. I always mix that name up, but it's going to be all the information. If you go to madewell.productions on Instagram, you will find out what's going on there, or North Love Arts. You will find out what's going on there on Instagram. And we are going to be keeping you updated on all of the artists that are going to be a part of this show. And this is groundbreaking. It's by no surprise that Nuit Blanche has named their show Breaking Ground. It is because they are exhibiting more BIPOC artists than they've ever have before. And it's 2023, y'all. So it's about time. It's about time. I do know that for me, my first experience with Nuit Blanche, and I'd love to hear for anybody that's listening right now, have you ever heard about Nuit Blanche in your part of the world? And have you seen BIPOC artists, and BIPOC, that's Black, Indigenous, and people of color, being represented in these spaces because we are huge consumers of art. And in fact, a lot of our bodies and are used as muses, are used to inspire the art that is created. We are the culture here. Afro and Caribbean people, especially, have been appropriated, by a very, very high number. And so it's very, very important that we are represented in these spaces, not only as being the subjects that are on the canvases, but the people who are actually the ones who are drawing these pictures, who are painting these pictures, sculpting these sculptures. We should be represented. It's truly important. And that's why it's really important for me to highlight artists from this community, because I really want folks to know what is going on in your community. The arts is a huge driver of entertainment and education. It connects people together. People of different races and backgrounds can come to common understanding on art, on music. We can both maybe even, despise each other's cultures. Maybe we don't like each other's food, but then we hear a song that's from neither of our cultures, and now we're friends over this song. So, just to say that it's really, really important for us to prioritize the arts, and hearing about things happening in the arts, such as artscapes buildings closing, is a really, really huge thing. And I know that it might not affect everyone in every part of the world that is listening right now, but right now in our community, this is something that will cause a rift. It will cause some issues. And I really want to prioritize this conversation for the next couple, well, until we fix it. Really, this is a priority conversation for me. So I'm going to be bringing in some folks who can help us to understand what's going on and how we can resolve these things. What can we do to ensure that spaces like these don't close? A lot of people ask me, or they compliment me on the fact that I'm able to host and do all of these events, but it was honestly because of organizations like the one I work for right now, where they created safe spaces for artists like me to be able to create, to breathe. Really, it felt very suffocating on the outside, and having spaces like that were safe, and with people that were facilitating it that looked like me, that was the key to me being in this spot right now. So I know that, yet again, there's another purpose for me to kind of attach myself to. And I'd love for folks out there who are interested in the arts and wanting to see a bigger platform for that, and at least not letting the buildings that we just fought for close down. At least that, because these buildings, some of them have only been up for about less than 10 years, and already it's seeming like they're going to be coming down or moved into something else. And then there's other things as well that are a part of this conversation, such as the fact that there are many underused city spaces. So even in your city where you might be right now, if you have an idea to start an initiative or an arts event, or maybe even something outside of the arts, you might be looking for a space to do that. I really think sometimes it really starts with the space. Mental space is one of them, but physical space is really important to be able sometimes to actualize these visions, right? So maybe right now you're sitting down at home and you're having this idea and you don't have the space to create. I'd love for you to go out in your city where you are and figure out, do some research on what is being done with underused city space in your neighborhood. Um, Talk to your local counselor if you are Canadian, and depending if you are American or from another part of the world, then you'll be speaking to the person like your mayor, anybody who is involved with city planning, all of that stuff. And I'm dropping these gems because maybe you didn't know who you're supposed to speak to. But these are the individuals that I have been able to find some success in moving things along, joining the conversation, making sure that your needs are part of that conversation, that people are prioritizing what makes you be able to get up in the morning. And I mean, at the same time, of course, we all have these competing things going on, which may make things difficult. If I want one thing, then that may actually, impede on your progress. But there is something that I've heard, and this is where I'm going to kind of leave things off tonight. And that is that it's all about community over competition, and that actually serving and giving into the community allows you to be able to receive. And you receive many blessings when you give into the community. So these are my gems that I'm dropping for y'all tonight. We had Julie who came into the spot, and we are for the next couple of weeks going to be amplifying Black visual artists right here on Voices of the Millennials with your host. That's me, Elle DeLeon, and some people call me LV Lion. And as I said, I'm okay with that because I make pretty dope art right here on Love Bay Afrobeat Music Talk Radio each and every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Join us here next Wednesday for the chance to be able to speak to another Black creative who is a millennial and who is also of the African Caribbean, background. We're also going to be talking to BIPOC artists. So there's other artists who will be joining us of other backgrounds, but I do find that people of color in general, we do have many things in common. And one of them is just that our voices are traditionally marginalized. I don't see a lot of other people of color being represented in these spaces also. And so I think it's important for all of us as people of color to band together. Honestly, we should be banding together so we can create a majority, and then maybe some things can, quickly change. Or at least we can do it together, because that's how we go far with things. And maybe we don't go fast, but we do go far when we're together, because your resources matched up with my resources, we create a conglomerate right there, and then we're moving, we're elevating. And that's why we do these conversations here on Voices of the Millennials, elevated conversations. We want to help you figure out your breakdowns and how you can break through and break ground by listening to the stories, the trials and tribulations from other folks. So another thing I want to do before I get out of here today is really invite those who might be listening. Right now we're prioritizing visual artists, but if you're interested, you can head over to my Instagram, my personal Instagram. Yes, please follow me. And that is Elle DeLeon, just the way that my name's spelled, all together. And if you follow me on there, you can fill out the form. You can be a guest on this show and talk to me about your breakdowns and your breakthroughs and how you're making it, how you're breaking ground. We'd love to keep this conversation going and going and going. Next up, though, we have another amazing show. Love Bay Radio has amazing shows, like just amazing content, amazing music, and it's all from local and emerging artists. We here, me being a host, we are artists. We are artists. Our producers, they are artists. I want to shout them out as well for all the work that they do here, and I'm really excited to be a part of this. And I'm looking forward to bringing you more stories that are going to help you break through to the dreams that you have in mind for yourself. And before we get out of here, I'm going to take us down with a little grounding exercise, because it's really important for us to just debrief and defunk, get rid of all that junk that might still be warbling around in our heads. Sometimes when we hear about other people's stories, it might either put us in a state where we start comparing ourselves and we're like, man, I'm not there yet. I'm no good. And then it might even put us in another state where we're comparing ourselves, but we are thinking, oh, I'm way better than that. Either one of those states can be very dangerous to our well being, and keeping balance, being aware of both, but then, ultimately deciding to kind of go your own path, not because of this competition that you've made up in your mind. That being said, we're going to take a big breath in. And when you breathe in, I really want you to fill your belly with air. Just feel it rising in front of you. And then when you exhale, I just want you to feel that belly just coming in towards the spine, really pushing all the air out. And maybe you weren't ready for that one, but you got two more chances right now. You're going to take a deep breath in through the nose. And then when you hit the top of your inhalation, you're going to pause. And then you're going to exhale out through the nose. And we're going to do that one more time. And this time we're going to do it with a big intention. We're going to inhale and filling the belly with air, but also filling our mind with the intention, with the visions that we have in place for ourselves, the dreams that we see when we go to sleep. What are those dreams? Keep them in mind. I want you to breathe that in. Everything that you need to make it through, breathe it in and hold it at the top. And then when you exhale, I want you to exhale any of the doubts that are still in your mind that are saying that these things are not already yours. These things are already yours, okay? So I want you to remember that. Breathe in what is already yours, everything that you have in front of you. And then you exhale and let go of anything that is not that. And until next time, until our energies meet again, I'm wishing you peace, love, and blessings. And I look forward to seeing you next Wednesday at 7 p.m.